Hi everyone, it's Sandy from the ReCreators here, and today I'm going to show you how to do a medieval technique called finger loop braiding. Now I'm going to disappear out of the picture so that I can set up my camera to show my hand, so you won't see my face for the rest of the video. See you soon. Medieval finger braiding, or 5-loop finger braiding. So it's called medieval by some people because this was done a lot to make cords and drawstrings and decorative edges and all sorts of cool things way back in hundreds and hundreds of years ago. It's different to our plaits. As you can see, we end up, it's quite a cool little pattern, and it's very round, regular finish as opposed to a 3-plait. This is just a traditional 3-plait, and you can see it's wide and flat in comparison. This gives you a lovely round finish. You can get some interesting things happening if you use different colors. I've used, this is string, this is some offcuts of wool, some ends of some balls of wool that I had lying around, and you can see we've ended up with a very cool pattern happening on that. I did 3 loops of black and 2 loops of white to do this one. This one here is just plain knitting cotton. It comes already rainbow dyed, and it's ended up looking really cool, just plaited straight like that. So just, I'm going to make myself a bracelet once I've finished this video. I actually think that would make a really cool looking bracelet as well, especially if you get it twisted around onto the chevron-y side. I think that would look really cool. I also tried out t-shirt string. Now you can see that's a lot fatter than if I just use ordinary string, because my ordinary string is a lot thinner, and t-shirt string is very, very fat, so it's given me a very fat wide braid, which I'm actually gonna try out. I think that would make a really comfortable bag strap because it's quite thick and soft and cushy. So I'm going to make some longer ones and try making some bag straps out of these. I think that would be cool. But today we're just going to do just a basic braid. Now, however long your finished pieces depends on what you're making your loops around. We're doing a 5-loop braid today. This one here is what I used to make this piece here. So you can see this is the length of my book that I looped around, and this is how much braiding I got done. So if you've got a particular length you want your braiding to be, then you need to find something to make your loops around that's, you know, maybe an inch or so bigger on each side. This one here is a lot longer. I looped this around the end of my dining room table. That gave me a much longer piece. So just think about what you might want to loop around. The idea is to make 5 very perfectly even loops about the same size. Otherwise, if you've got long loops and short loops, it makes it really difficult. So let's get started. I'm just going to use plain string for this one. So I'm going to leave a little bit hanging out the end so I can tie a knot at the end, and then I'm just going to go around 5 times to make 5 complete loops. So we go around once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then one more makes 5. And then I'm going to give myself a bit to tie a knot with. Just tie whatever knot holds together, as long as it doesn't give way on you, doesn't matter. And we just want 5 nice even loops like that. If you were doing multicolors like this one, then I went round 3 times and then stopped and tied a knot to have 3 loops of one color, and then the other color, which for me was white. Then I went around 2 more times, made a set of 2 and a set of 3. But I kept them all together on the book at the same time because you want to tie them together afterwards. So you can get a piece of string like that, you can run the whole thing through like that and just tie a knot. I've just done a half knot like that, so I should be able to untie it afterwards when I finish. And then I can tie that to something. I can get someone to hold it. I can tie it around my table leg. I'm just going to unloop it now. I can tie that in a knot at this end and make a circle so I can hook it over a door handle, or I can get a piece of tape and tape it to the floor, tape it to a chair leg. Just as long as it's being held tightly, so that you could con somebody in your family to hold tight while you sit there while they read a book, and with one hand or one foot or one ankle holding onto it for you while you are doing your work. So it doesn't take too long. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually just pin it under my table leg, and that should actually hold for me. So that will do nicely. 1, 2, 3 loops on one side and 2 loops on the other. It doesn't matter whether you start off with your 3 loops on the left or 3 loops on the right, because you're very quickly going to change sides. You're going to work with your hands like this. You're going to use these 3 fingers on that hand and these 3 fingers on that hand, so you don't need your pinkies and you don't really need your thumbs. we're going to pick up our loops and we're going to put them on 3 fingers like that, and then we're going to pick up these loops and put them on our fingers however we get them on. But we want to end up with the index finger, so if we would pick them up like that, you're just going to walk your fingers, put one in, then take one out, put one in, take one out, so that we have our index finger free. That's the one that's doing all the work. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over the top and dive into the middle of this loop, and then we're going to come up and dive into the middle of this loop and then come up, and then we're going to catch this one, hook it. You can just hook it with one finger. If you want to use your thumb, you can. And then we're going to bring it all the way up nice and tight, so that's tightening the plait right at the top. And now the 3 loops are on the other side, and I have 2 on my first side, and that finger is empty. So the empty finger is going to come across and get a new loop, and the middle finger is going to come across and get a new loop, and that now gives me my pointy index finger ready to go weaving on this side. So again, we're going to go over the first one, dive into the middle, and then we're going to come up. See, you caught it on yourself. Over the middle, I feel a bit like a dolphin doing this, and dive into the middle, and then come up, and now we're going to hook that. And you can either just hook it with your finger, or if it feels easier for you, you can use your thumb to keep it safe, and pull tight all the way at the top. Now we're going to swap our fingers over to get our new dolphin, our new index finger ready, and we're going to go diving again. In and out, in and out, and through. Pull that out. And then we're going to swap our fingers over, and now we're going to go diving again, up and in, up and in. So we should have 2 pieces of string on the back of our dolphin, and you can see it's opened up a hole through the middle of the loops there, and that's what we're going to bring that 3rd loop all the way through and swap it to the other side. And that is all you do, right down to the end. Now if you are weaving in mid-air, you just want to keep going until you get to the end, but if you are weaving on top of the floor like I am, or weaving across the top of a table and you need to stop for a minute, then all you do is make sure you carefully put your loops down so you can see where the 3 and where the 2 is, and then once you've done what you have to do and you come back, you just pick them back up, and you pick these back up, and then you just keep on going. Now I'm going to stop now so you don't get bored watching me. If you want to rewatch this, just go back a little bit in the video, and I will come back and show you what happens when I get to the end. So I've got down to the end, well, as long as I want to go. So you stop when it's as long as you want, or when your fingers are struggling to fit properly anymore. I could go longer, but I think that's long enough for what I want. So you've got 2 ways to finish off. You can just bundle it all up into a knot. So you just pull it all up and make a knot on the end, which is what I did on the end of that one. Quick and easy, but it does leave you with a lump, which may or may not be a problem depending on what you're doing with your project. Or the other way is to bind it off. So I'm going to bind it off. So I'm going to get another piece of string, and I'm going to just wrap it around nice and tight, a couple of 2 or 3 times. I think I'll do 3, make sure it's nice and tight, and then I'm just going to tie that in a nice secure knot so that it doesn't get loose at this end. So set really tight, giving it a good pull, and then once again really tight, giving it a good pull, and then that gives me a nice secure finish on that end. Now if I take this one off over here, if I undo this piece of string and take this loop out, then this end will unravel. Do need to have it secured at both ends, so again the other end, in this case I'm going to just tie that in a double knot, make sure it's nice and secure, and that's holding the beginning ends together for me. But if I took this piece of string away, I would have to do some sort of a finish at this end as well. And there you go. I hope you have a lot of fun with your project, and send us a picture if you get a chance. Thanks.